Because last night, Trump's top political advisors met for a private meeting. This included his former campaign manager, his pollster, his chief of staff. They all huddled together at the private members-only Capitol Hill Club in D.C. to discuss what they think should be Trump's midterm strategy. And according to the Wall Street Journal's Josh Dawsey, a big part of that crack team's plan is to encourage Trump's cabinet secretaries to visit competitive districts. I, for one, I think that's a freaking phenomenal idea. I fully endorse it, given that these are the kind of people that they are talking about here.
Surely, as vice president, you'd like to be president.
Well, look, I think, again, I'm going to try to do as good of a job as I can right now.
I mean, that laugh is so awkward. It's like the stuff of nightmares. But that was, of course, Trump's number one surrogate, his vice president. He may be some sort of Manchurian candidate. I don't know. But at a minimum, the guy is not exactly oozing charm, really ever. I mean, just a few weeks ago, he was booed at the opening ceremony of the Olympics in Milan. And that is actually part of a long history of Vance getting booed by crowds really all over the place. Definitely send that guy to competitive districts. That's a bang-up strategy you came up there with there. But hey, listen, if Vance is too busy, he's too weird, who knows? Trump could always call upon his incredibly relatable and not at all off-the-wall bizarre Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr. Here he is. This is a real video, I kid you not, in an official HHS video he just put out with right-wing musician Kid Rock to, I guess, and this is really a reach here, and I'm not here to get in the heads of their strategy, I guess, to encourage the country to work out and eat healthy, I guess. And they thought, RFK Jr. specifically thought, it would be a good idea to film himself and Kid Rock doing some sort of strenuous exercises inside a sauna, shirtless, because we all need to see that, getting into a cold plunge with jeans on, as one does, jumping into a pool with jeans on, I don't even know. And here's my favorite, drinking whole milk in a hot tub. And cheersing the whole milk. Nothing says I'm just a normal and relatable guy like drinking whole milk while relaxing in a hot tub with Kid Rock, right? Am I right? Now, not to be outdone, Trump's administrator of Medicare and Medicaid, Dr. Mehmet Oz, posted photos from his beachside brunch get-together with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth this morning. Now, they reportedly took a cold plunge. They're all cold plunging, apparently. And they can also be seen dangling from a palm tree. Just your average Wednesday morning there, I guess. Who knows? Not like there aren't things happening out there in the world. Trump has a lot of options, Those are just some of them when it comes to sending cabinet secretaries out in competitive districts. And all of them are amazingly bad options in their own unique and incredible ways. I mean, some of them literally have massive nationwide protest movements directed at their agencies and often them specifically. Most of them are embroiled in at least one major scandal, and none of them are known on a human level as being, well, particularly charming human beings. But I should be more specific about the Trump team's plan here. Again, according to the Wall Street Journal's Josh Dawsey, the plan is to push Trump's cabinet to visit competitive districts and specifically highlight affordability issues. Now, putting aside for a second that Trump claims that affordability is a new word invented by Democrats to make him look bad, put that on a bumper sticker, everyone. Trump's cabinet does not exactly have a great track record on that front either.
Let's say Social Security didn't send out their checks this month. My mother-in-law, who's 94, she wouldn't call and complain. She just wouldn't. She'd think something got messed up, and she'll get it next month.
Yeah.
A fraudster always makes the loudest noise, screaming, yelling, and complaining.
We've run over 1,000 simulations. It can cost around $3 a meal for a piece of chicken, a piece of broccoli, corn tortilla, and one other thing. And so there is a way to do this that actually will save the average American consumer money.
What is a mom and pop that someone, maybe your parents for their retirement, about 5, 10, 12 homes. So we don't want to push the mom and pops out. We just want to push everyone else out.
President Trump, if you are watching, if any of your advisors see a clip of this on social media or wherever, definitely send those 3 to swing districts. Maybe they should do a bus tour. Think of the possibilities. One chicken nugget and broccoli stock for everyone while discussing how to possibly manage those 12 homes your retired parents bought. So many possibilities. People would love to be told that they shouldn't complain if they don't get their Social Security checks, or that they should just make their meals smaller, like itty bitty tiny, one chicken nugget, or that they should put aside their own interest in favor of those poor landlords who only own a dozen homes. That would go over really well. Could be a bus tour.